Hello, hello. Um, I haven't tested this out, so I don't know if my microphone is working well. Oh, I already see Kari in chat. Hi, Kari. Hi, everybody in chat. Nice to see you all. Thank you for dropping the link, Kari. Mike's good. Good. A good time. I forgot to. I was configuring something and I forgot to test out the mic before I usually stream. I always do like a little recording to make sure that my mic doesn't work is working. But anyways, thank you for the feedback. Welcome everybody. Welcome to Friday. This is going to be a slow one. This week was very chaotic. A lot of work done, especially in preparation for Octane. So my hope is that we finish today at least having implemented the new endpoint on the API that is going to give a JSON back, and hopefully everything will be fine and I won't break anything. Uh, Fingers crossed. It has been a while since I edited or implemented anything new in this API. So let's see. Yes, we are building. I mean, I was using the API I already have, but like just a quick recap of what we did before. Let me show you the code. Um, I I don't remember my buttons anymore. I guess this is the one. Huh, look at that. Finally. So, what were we doing until this day? Like, since I began streaming again on this thing, which was basically we are building out this script that's going to make a protected API call. Well, a API call that is to a protected API from the badge, which is the thing up here. So basically, this script I was using one API that I built a long time ago, 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I don't remember anymore. Um, and that API is not meant to do the things I was trying to do. So my idea today is to implement a new endpoint that is going to give us back some JSON data that we can use to display on the badge. So yes, we are building APIs today. But the idea is to use this endpoint at the badge, hence why we're still hacking the badges. So let's get this started. So the API that I had that I was using, just a quick overview of that little sneaky thing that we was doing. I have it running locally right now, and I'm just going to show you why in a little bit. But I also have it a version of it live that I hosted on Heroku. Where is the link to open the app? Okay, see, found it. I'm a little slow today, so I apologize in advance. So this API actually shows, this is the homepage for the API, and it shows this map. And I haven't updated this map at all, but this basically are the places that I've been that I given a talk or course or tutorial or anything. And my idea would be to show maybe some stats of this inside the badge, just as a tryout. Like my goal for the end of the year is to actually build something more interesting than this. But as a study case, this serves well its purpose, especially because it has been a while since I updated this API and I didn't have any new API, and I don't want to go developing a new API without testing things out first, so that then I can design what I want to build, documenting it. I like to document what I want to build first, then actually implement it later, because I think that way the API looks cleaner. I have less trouble trying to get things together. So that's my plan for like the few live streams I probably going to do throughout the rest of the year. And I'm going to say few because I have a lot of traveling for events that I have to do. So I don't know how many live streams I still have until like probably Christmas time. Um, Other than traveling for work, I also have some time off, which is I recommend for everybody taking time off. But anyways, so this is the API, and I was setting up my environment for running this API like this morning, right before the stream, which is one of the reasons why I started the stream a little bit later than my usual. I tried to start it like around 10 and stick to 10, but I guess this was maybe 10:02 or something. Anyways, so this is the main page of the API. It has another few endpoints, mainly to create new markers on the map. But what I want to do, because since this endpoint is the one that I was using in the other endpoints, like the one that something went wrong shows up, and the one um, that creates new maps doesn't like return me anything interesting, I want to implement a new endpoint. So let's go, let's see the code, right? Because this is running locally and is deployed on Heroku. So my idea would be to implement a new endpoint and then deploy it to Heroku and then make a request to Heroku again from the batch. So here I have my VS Code open. This code is actually on GitHub. I can grab the link for you. This code is actually on GitHub, so if you want to like check it out, you can like take it with a grain of salt because you know it is a little bit old considering. But the idea, it is a Flask API. So Flask is one of the many web development frameworks in Python. For those of you who might not be a Python person or web development Python person, um, what is the and I chose Flask because the idea the idea for Flask is that it is lightweight. It is supposed to be easy to start anyways. And it was like maybe 2 years ago. I don't think we had like I wasn't as good at with Fast API as I am right now, which would be probably my best option. So if you want to check out the code, I didn't copy. Can I turn off this? Yeah, okay. What is why? Oh, Jesus. I didn't copy the URL. Give me a second. I'm struggling. Today is not an easy day. Why can't I paste? Oh, I can. I guess it was my keyboard. So this is the code if you want to check it out. Feel free to open PRs if you see something wrong or if you see something that could be improved. And that's the same code that I have here. Carly, since you are here, can you like, is this font size okay? I guess I can like probably increase it a little bit. Yes, I guess this is better. So right now I have my Python environment activated and the Flask API running. That's what you see here in my shell. And if I go to app.py, I'm using a very simple like way to implement these things. I'm not using anything more fancy that I could. So basically I have the endpoint. So app.get, which is the home endpoint, is going to handle the index HTML that you see the map there. We have the oops, ping, and the places. So the places one and the ping one, they are going to so ping is going to recreate the map. So maybe if I need to force an update on the map, that is what I'm using to do it. It is a protected endpoint, so only I that have an access code or somebody that has an access code for this API can do it. In this case, me, I'm the only person. And places is the one that this is not a good name for this endpoint, to be honest, because if I like when I think places, I think, oh, a list of places, but this is actually creating a new place. So I probably should rename this endpoint to something else. But one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Oh, thanks, Corey. I keep like this is the first time I'm using VS Code on live streaming after if like a long time. So I thought, yeah, the characters were a little small. Hi Leon, nice to see you again. How you doing? um I see all the people in chat, so if you want to say hi, I would love to say hi to you. Tell me where you were from, what you're doing. So yeah, I know you understand that because you yourself is trying to be to do some live streaming and live coding, I guess. When we were back, I'll be there to remind you of bumping up the font size. So, anyways, let's implement a new endpoint, and keep in mind that I'm not the greatest person to give names to my endpoints because reasons. So, for example, places being one of them is not the best one. So this should probably like create new place instead of places, and I want places to be like the endpoint that is going to give out like a list of places. Okay, so I'm going to rename this one to create new because it's bugging me. Most of my coding is made out of, oh, this is bugging me. I don't like it. So the second one I'm going to do is the actual places now, and I'm going to be use app.get. So basically, it is a shortcut. Um, so in Flask, there is two ways that you can implement endpoints. You can do app dot the method of the endpoint, the method that that endpoint can receive, especially for endpoints that only have one method available. The other one would be app dot requests dot endpoint. I don't remember anymore. Oh yeah, endpoint. And this one you can pass along the two methods or three methods or how many methods you want as part of the definition of this endpoint. I prefer to keep my endpoints to do only one thing. So that's why I'm doing app.get, and I'm going to call it places because now we can use it. And one another thing is when I ran this, I didn't use the flag to automatically identify changes to my files. So it's not going to, so I have to stop my server and run it again in a bit. So I'm going to do the same two things, which is using the cross orange and allow for these two headers, is content type and authorization, because I want this to be protected. I don't want everybody on the entire planet to be making requests to this thing. And I also going to use the requires auth decorator that I got from Auth0, so that I can protect that endpoint. But since I'm developing, and please don't judge me, I like to make sure that the endpoint is working before I actually protect the endpoint. So I'm going to add a to do here. Protect the endpoint, and keep in mind that yes, I should probably be testing this API, but I'm not because it's just like a little simple project. I'm not like necessarily deploying this to my users or anything else, so it doesn't require me to be that careful when developing. Maybe I can do a live stream on testing out this thing to make sure that it's working and everything is as it's supposed to be. Exactly. Corey just read my mind. Testing, aka good content for future stream. Exactly my point. I'm making content. But anyways, so the way that you define the endpoint is basically you have a function that does all the things that you want to do. So to begin with everything, and see, I gave the name a good name for the function that I was using for the other endpoint here in the create new. I'm going to do a list places function. And if y'all have better names for anything that I'm writing down, like variables, functions, please feel free to, drop that in chat. I will love to change names of everything to a better one. Um, So list places should return a JSON, but instead of just doing like that out of the gate, I'm going to make it return. Do I have JSON imported here? I could do JSON pretty probably something. I don't have it imported, so let's import JSON. And within the Python library, we have a JSON module, so I'm going to use that for the beginning, but maybe I could do a better one. I guess Flask has a pretty way to return JSON objects better than just like a JSON dump. So JSON is part of the Python standard library. That's why I'm putting it first. Not that the order that I'm importing stuff really matters. It's just one of the, well, how do you say it? My English is failing me today. So basically, no, the order does not matter. But if you're trying to follow best practices, that's the term, best practices in Python, there is a order in the way that you do imports. So standard library first, the libraries that are external second, and then the things that you build for that project third. And you always start with imports first, and then from imports you go to from import something. So basically, how can I explain this? So I'm importing the whole library here, but I could import just the method or the class or the object I'm going to use. But I'm importing everything because I'm lazy. Well, at least I'm being lazy right now. Like this Friday, I'm not feeling to be, not lazy. So let's do JSON, and that's dumps this JSON, which is going to be a dictionary. Can I do that? I don't remember. Where's my help? Dumps. Oh, jeez. Okay, so dumps is a function. It takes all of that things. It can receive an object, um, separators, blah 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 blah. What else? Serialized object to a JSON formatted string. Perfect. So serialized object is any object, usually dictionary. Let's see if they have an example here. No. Okay, that's fine. So let's do my favorite object as an example. Key. Hello. Value world. I'm feeling very, very funny right now. Can you tell? Okay, so I also did a thing, which was install an extension on VS Code called Thunder Client to allow me to make the requests directly from VS Code. And I want to try that one with you all today. Like I did one request earlier just to make sure that I configured correctly the variables to making requests for Auth0. So because I didn't want my client IDs and secrets all over. And here, this is Auth0 task, which is like the environments where I have all the environments, but I can also, if I do this, these are the requests, and I can remake requests or save to a collection anyways. And I'm going to create a new request. So I'm going to make the request to my endpoint, and keep in mind that I need to remember, I need to remind me that I need to rerun this thing before I make anything. And it's going to be a get request, and I want to do, what is the name? Places, to see if returns the JSON object. Let's see. It has two headers, but I don't want these headers in here. Oh, I probably should put in the ones that I put there. Oh, method not allowed. Did I not put a get? Oh, I didn't. Stop. Because why method not allowed? Because before places was the other thing, right? The post endpoint. Now I have a get endpoint. So let's run this again. And hopefully I won't get this answer back. So it's running again. I can Control C to quit. We just cycle those keys after the stream. I don't know what that means though. What keys? Oh, you mean from the tenant? Yeah, I could do that. Like, actually, that is a good idea. Yeah, I'll do that again. I don't know why, but I keep forgetting that we can do that. And I work with the thing. But anyways, okay, see, it worked. Oh, thank the Lord. um, and this one, like usually in my week before I do the live streaming, I actually try out the things that I'm going to build on Friday and show people, just to make sure that I don't forget anything, that I remember my things, and I don't make like silly mistakes if I can help them. But this time I didn't have time. This week I didn't have time. So you're seeing me try to work my way through implementing stuff from scratch. See, I didn't practice this before. But that's why I'm so happy it worked. We got the okay here. We got our JSON object. So good. Let's work through the process of giving back actually the list of places, right? And people in chat that do web development, y'all can help me. What would be the best way for me to structure this JSON as a list of things? Like I can do lists of things, but I'm thinking what would be the best way. Like I know one way that I want to do. I Is that the best way? It could be. It could not be. I'm not sure. Let's see. So this is the thing. It worked great. Everybody that is watching this now, if you have questions, if something is not clear, please do drop in chat. Thanks, Kari. Kari saying that I should go with what I want to do, but I'm trying to do better. Like I for development, the way that I do stuff is usually I do it the way that I wanted to do, and then I go back in and probably refactor if I find a better way to do things. Especially, for example, some sort of standard that I might not know ahead of time or not remember because my memory is not that good. My camera just froze. Let's see if I can go get it back online. But usually what I do is definitely, oh here, I'm back. I try to do what I want and then I look for, improvements that I can make and refactor that code. Okay, so now this is working. um, I could, one, protect the endpoint now. Excuse me. Or two, continue developing this until I got satisfied with the results, and then protect the endpoint, which is what I'm going to do. Jesus. The water went down the wrong pipe the first time around. So uncomfortable. Anyways, so I need to remind myself how I deal with the list of places I already have for this thing. I know I have a few functions that helped me out, and those are inside the utils module. So here I have maps.py, and this is the collection of functions that I've been using. So for example, load data loads the data set from places.csv. That's the CSV I have here. Those are the markers. Using pandas, returns a data frame. Okay, maybe this is the one that I want to do. This saves the data, so it updates the CSV file. This creates the map, and the map is the thing that you are seeing on the HTML file, and it uses a library volume, which a friend pointed out to me. It was discontinued. So one of the things that I want to do for this API, if I want to keep it live, is to actually update from volume to the other one that is the new version sort of this. I do like volume though because I think it's so cute and it does everything that I need in a very easy way, and I wouldn't have to learn a new API from a new library. But you know, better to have something that is updated and improved on a daily basis. These are the markers. And for those that don't do Python, so this is the doc strings. So for example, if I hover over the function, this is the thing that is going to pop up. So I already did that for the dumps function earlier. But if I go over any of the functions that I have, this will bring that documentation up. See, loads data set. That was documentation I wrote. Look at that. I love documentation. It turns a volume map. It could be better though. Can you see, like for example, I don't have any styling or anything, but it could be better. It always can be better, I guess, but you have to get to a point where it's like, oh, this is that. I'm going to stop at this point. So progress, little, little steps. So this creates the map, it loads the data, it creates the map, it adds the markers and it saves it. This creates a new place, so base loads the data, adds a line to the data set to the pandas data frame, and then it drops duplicates just in case I made the request 2 times or like, things happen when I was making the request, and then saves the result so to avoid me having double markers in the same location. Okay, so I guess what I need is the load data. And that load data is going to structure the information inside of a dictionary and turn that dictionary so I can call that on my function and have that be the return of the function. Does that sound like a good plan? I think it is. I think that's the way to go. Corey likes it. If Corey likes it, I'm doing it. Yeah. Okay, so let's create a new function inside of here, and then let's call that function inside of our API. So the first thing I'm going to do, you can guess it, is actually create the function that probably turns places from a data frame to a dictionary and turns that places dictionary. I feel like this is the way that I should go with the name of these things. Yep, I think that's the way we should go. So yeah, I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to leave the documentation for a second time. So basic, I'm going to write just one line of documentation. I can do the returns later. I don't like to not document stuff. It gives me the creep. The creeps. Okay, places dictionary. Returns, capitalizing. Returns a list of a dictionary of places. I guess it's okay. I can improve that later. And I know I'm going to return a JSON. I could return the JSON string out of the gate, to be honest. I guess I'm going to do that. So I'm going to replace this, remove this from here. I'm going to put this in here, and I'm going to make it return the thing. And I'm going to call this function inside of that endpoint. Now, you may notice that it has like this quickly underlining thing here. That's because I didn't import this function in the beginning of my file. So pylons, which is one of the things that I use for making my code look pretty and make sure that I don't forget. Oh, hi. Thank you for the follow. Make sure that I don't forget to import my things like the functions, modules, and objects I'm using. Is telling me, hey, fix this thing. Can I do a quick fix? I never click these buttons. Oh, look at that. So smart. Can I do enter to apply? And if I screw up, would it put it in the right place? Oh my god, it did. So choose maps, which is that script that we have, which is like the module that we are using. And create map, which was I using before, create a new place, which I was using before as well. And then, whew, look at that. Coding feels like magic sometimes, especially when you use the right tools, doesn't it? I love it. I never used this feature before. So I'm a bit like, oh my god, this was so good. I love it. I'm going to use this more. Oh, I feel like a kid. Got a new toy. And I'm not even ashamed of it. Okay, so I'm going to stop my server and run that again and make a new request to see if replies the same thing. But just for good measure, I'm going to change the information here. Oh, see, same thing happened here. Quick fix. I'm addicted. I am going to do this every time now. Ta-da! I'm going to change this to like triple exclamation points and see if it works. And save. Where is our this is our endpoint, and let's go back to our extensions under client. Let's open this request which went with the problem, and let's run that again. Oh, it's not going to run, right? I need to rerun this thing before. So running now. Oh, just one point that I'd like to point out before I do this request. Warning, this is development server. Do not use it to run in production deployment. Use a production WSGI server instead, which I have. For this application I'm using, I think is Unicorn. Let me double check. Yes, Unicorn. So Unicorn is one of the many options of WSGI servers that you can use. I'm using that one. Pretty simple. I just saw a website deployed with that type of warning in the console. Yes, some people do not know better. One of the reasons why, like for example, I have a blog post that teaches people how to deploy these things. Specifically to Roku, and mentioning unicorn is one of the things that I had to put in there, because people do not know any better sometimes. They say, it's just a warning. It shouldn't matter. I was like, but it does. Anyways, let's go back to our request and send it out. And we got the request here, and the answer is updated. See? Yay! It worked. Good. So everything is good. Now let's actually do this stuff. Let's make it like a dictionary listing of things. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do, actually, it's going to return a list, and the list is a list of dictionaries. Should I do that instead? Hmm. Yes, I guess I'm going to do that. Thinking about it. Because each place has a name. Okay, pause. If I open places.csv, you're going to see, don't show. I'm going to, no, it's not going to be a list. It's going to be a dictionary, but it's going to be a collection of dictionaries, I would say. Does that make sense? Because I'm going to tell you why at this moment. So each place has name and two other informations: latitude and longitude. So I want to put all of this, and what a shame, this doesn't understand like in Portuguese names. Um, anyways, some of them. So I want to have all of the information just in case I want to show anything. So for example, one of the applications inside the badge is actually to show, what is the name? The weather for whatever latitude and longitude you give it out. Right? And I just saw that this is duplicated. I don't need this one. So with the latitude and longitude, I could show the weather for all of these cities if I wanted to from the badge. Does that make sense? I guess it does. At least it does in my head. If it doesn't, please let me know. So I need to put, I don't want to just put the names, which I could, inside of the dictionary because it doesn't make any sense. I could have like the name and then this be the value for the value, for example, grass. Grass is a city in Austria where I went once a long time ago. And this is the location of the marker on the map. So Taipei is in Taiwan, São Paulo, Ribeirão Preto, Florianópolis, all cities in Brazil. So I guess I need to have a dictionary. The name of the thing could be the key, and the values could be a list containing latitude and longitude, or a set. Set would be better, but I don't know if that's a good thing to do in, what is the name? JSON objects. So maybe I could do like a string, a collection of places where each place has a name, a let, and a long. Yes, it could be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and also could be like that. Let's write this out. Let's think about it. So it's going to be a dictionary, a JSON array. Yeah, that's what I thought. Like I said lists, but I keep forgetting that JSON has arrays, not lists. So in Python, we have lists, which is the array in JSON, right? Um, so it could be like, for example, a list of JSON objects. something like this. And it could be like, for example, name. Oh, hello there. Thank you for the follow. I'm trying to read people's names and I cannot for the life of me. Like, this is too small for me to actually see the alert box, but I didn't want it to be like in the middle of the whole thing. But thank you for the follow, anyways. Hi. If you want to say hi in chat, I'll try to pronounce your name. Probably butcher it and then try to do better next time. Okay, so name and would be like a city name and could be, for example, Toronto, Toronto, like the locals say. And it could have like lat and have a value here, like na na na, and then comma and have like long and have another value here, something like this. I guess this makes sense, doesn't it? As an example. Yeah, I kind of like this way. I guess I like this way better than the way that I thought before. Though I'm not okay, so Corey says, yeah, though I'm not sure how you plan to use it on the consumer side. So okay, consumer side is going to be the badge, right, for translation purposes. So for example, one of the things that I was thinking is how many cities have I been to? And this could be a count of the objects inside of this array. Or in Python, a list, like the length of this list. And then I would know, oh, that many cities. I could show the number, like the names of each city. So I could do like for each element inside of that list, give me the value of the property name and create a list out of it, which I guess is a better way to access. Oh my god, my English is not good today. This is going to be a hard day. um I, probably a better way to access each of these informations inside of each dictionary. I'm guess this would be a better format for it anyways. Let's go with that and then we can think about doing a different way after we make the first request and see how that looks in the badge. How does that sound? Can I copy like 2 cities from here and put that information here? Yeah. So my brain, it processes information in a very crazy way. So right now I'm thinking maybe I should have music on. And then I keep thinking I also don't have a way to pass the music onto the stream. I also don't have copyright free music. So I need to figure out music for the next live stream. That's like my homework for the next one. What type of music do you people that are watching normally feel like when you're watching live streams? Like, I keep thinking something that doesn't have words in it, just like melody, not necessarily people singing, because I would probably sing to along if I know the lyrics. Anyways, I digress. So I guess this is a good example of how so this is actually going to be a list. Okay, so for simplicity's sake, what I'm going to do is actually copy this and put this in places, make it a list. And can I just do like a list here and hope to God it doesn't break? I hope so. Okay, let's try to run this again and see what happens. Send. Oh, look at, would you look at that? It worked. beautifully. I'm so proud. Oh, look, they grew up so fast. Sorry, I promise to stop having too much fun with this thing. Okay, so this works, which is a good thing, I guess. I could probably do the same thing from directly from pandas. I know pandas has a way to return a different object from the data frame. I guess I don't remember anymore. It has been a while since I worked with any real pandas code. Uh, Probably should check out the documentation to see what happens. But it works. I'm proud. Okay, good. This is good. I'm going to leave it like that for the moment. So this is places. The other thing that I want to do is probably make a request once it's protected, and I think this would be good enough to do that. Maybe I should read the thing first though, to have like less lines inside of this function. I don't like it like this. Yeah, let's try to do load the data. And you know what? I should probably try to do this on the terminal first just to see if I can. Yeah, I should probably do that. So I'm going to install a Python console here real quick called IPython. Why IPython and not the normal Python console? Because it's prettier, okay? It has code completion, it is colorful, it is really nice Python console. If you are going to use Python on a shell, I recommend IPython, okay? And the beauty of any Python console in this situation is that I can test my code without rerunning my whole application to do so. And so let's start IPython. And IPython, I'm using Python 3.9. This is the IPython version I'm using. It is enhanced, it is interactive, it is Python. I love it. So I can just go import, well, I could do from choose maps import, which is, what is the name of this thing? Places ticked. Ooh, I got warnings. Probably because I'm using an old version of stuff. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to ignore this for the moment. Okay, there is another thing too. I need to update all of these libraries because it has been 2 years since I did the first setup of this thing. Probably a new live stream will happen just for me to update that and make sure everything's working and everything. Places dict, which also just reminded I need to update the name of the function because it's not a dict anymore. Oh, it's complaining. Oh, okay. It's trying to read from GitHub. Why is, oh yeah, data sets. Oh, okay. I remember what I did now. So, jokes on me. What happens is this repo is using GitHub, not my local places CSV file to read. This project is using that. So what is load data again? Save data set, load data. Because I had to make it hard on myself, right? I cannot have like made it easier for me. Could I? No. Why should I? What can I do here instead? Okay, I'm going to just comment this out. I give up. I'm sorry. And I'm going to do pd read CSV, but instead of reading from GitHub, I'm going to read it from my local file. I should probably factor this function to have a flag here that if I pass it like local, read the local data instead of trying to get through GitHub. And should that, if I do places CSV here, will it work? I don't know. Okay, can I, yes, and run IPython again and import, no, from places date, ignoring the warning. Nobody should ignore the warnings, but I am. Okay, it works. Great. It's returning the thing that it already said it was going to return. Okay, now it's reading from my local data. But it's still returning that object there. So if I do, okay, instead of this, I'm going to return the F. Can I just re-import? I never remember. Oh yeah, no. So one thing that happens that is really annoying about these things in Python is if you're doing the things that I'm doing right here, where I'm using the thing from like the module from my local development, is I have to stop the instance of my Python console to actually get a reread on the import. I cannot like re-import the thing. You know, life life happens. Okay, so this is the df. Okay, let's save this into an object. Yeah, it sucks, I know. There was a reason because why it was like this, I just don't remember, and I apologize. I don't know who the person was, but thank you for the follow. Nice to meet you. If you want, say hi, chat. Tell me who you are, what you're doing, what you like about, development, things like that. We are doing a update to an API so that we can make a request to the new endpoint of that API. Okay, so see, this is IPython. So being able to see the methods of an object, I cannot do that in a pretty way or friendly way in Python, in a normal Python console. This allows me to do this much like I would if I were developing inside VS Code. Like I could see an option, like all the options for that given function. Okay, so here like I have add prefix. I'm looking for something like export or convert. I don't remember the name anymore. B3 time, boolean, columns, combine, copy, count. I guess that is one like write CSV. Maybe I have something called dictionary, something, something. Empty, evolve, expand Q&A. Nope, 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 nope. From records, group by, head. So all of these are functions from a data frame in pandas. So data frame, for those who are not familiar with pandas, pandas is one of the libraries for data science. And think of it as the version of a spreadsheet on inside like your terminal in Python. So I can access like each row and each column, or like all the rows, all the columns. I can print them out. I can make a lot of transformations. I can search for things inside of the data frame. I can run through each rows or each item or each column. It doesn't really matter. Keys. I can also access columns. So see here, I can see latitude is one of the columns that I have. Longitude is the other. I can get the mean, the median, all of the fun statistical mathematic functions. Name is the other column. Pivot table, I can plot it out. Name, example, order, nope, nope, nope. Shape, no. Shape is going to give me how many rows and columns I have. It is a matrix after all, just a pretty way of structuring matrices. Matrices? No, what is the plural of matrix? Jesus, I don't know. What is the plural of matrix? Matrices. This sounds wrong. Am I pronouncing this right? Like I can write this, but I cannot say it. Jesus. This is going to be conversation topic for my next meeting with Corey for sure. Corey, put it on the list for our one-on-one. Please. Thank you so much. In Portuguese would be matrizes. So matrix is matriz. In the plural is matrizes. Nothing like English whatsoever. Probably more close to Spanish. To CSV, to clipboard, to dict. Oh my god, dict. Could this be the one that we are going to use? I don't know. Keep that in mind. Hold that on your thought. To dict, to JSON. Or maybe this is the one. Oh my god. Can I say which column I use as keys for the JSON? What does it do? Oh my god. Oh, so I see. Okay, see what it did here? Like let's copy this and let's take a look at it. Can I do, is that like a JSON prettify website, JSON pretty? Since this is not like a formatter, that's the word. Thank you. This is not like anything important. I can do this. Normally I don't paste things on these kind of things online because I don't like it. So what it did was it take each of the columns and for each row creates the information. This is where I use Notepad++ on Windows. Probably VS Code has something like this. I just never looked through to see if it does or not, to be honest. But my god, Notepad++, I think it has been maybe 4 or 5 years, even if not more, that I heard that word. Just saying, Corey. Update your stuff. Anyways, latitude and longitude. Can I reformat this instead of having it like this and use something different? For example, I wouldn't mind have like 0, 1, 2, 3, and then having each of the what is the name, the objects inside. Can I do that? Can I do df to JSON? So I'm going to show you like a neat trick. I can do help, which is a function in Python, and this is going to print out the documentation for the method on my terminal. So I don't have like to open the documentation on a website if I don't want to. Wouldn't that be nice? So path, buff, we are passing a buff, which is the data frame. Is a buffer. Each data frame is of type buffer, or has the ability to be a buffer. Orientation, optional, string. The normal value is none. The default value is none. Date format, none. Double precision, force, ASCII, Boolean T. Okay, so force ASCII can be of Boolean value and is going to be true by default. The unit, lines, false. JSON serializable, none. Maybe this is the thing that we need to use. Might be this one, the window. Compressions, storage options, blah blah blah. Okay, let's take a look at this. So here we have path above, orientation, indication of the expect JSON string format, series, data frame. Data frame default is columns. Allowed values are split, records. Can I do records? Oh, I'm going to try so many things. I'm sorry, I got excited. Too many options, so I don't know which one is the one that I want. Maybe for my guess is probably there is a set of values that I can pass to this function to make it print out or spit out the data frame in just the format that I want. The question is, what is the set of options for each parameter of this thing? Okay. Okay. So I'm going to try records as the, what is the name? Path above. Orient. This is the one that I want. Orient. Let's try that one. So I can quit. And by quit is just like in that mode, you can see, read through the documentation. You can scroll up and down or use your arrows, navigation arrows on your keyboard. And to get out of it, you press quit, a Q. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I went with that way of saying the Q, but anyways, that's what we got. So it's already 11. I want to finish at least this part because then we can try using this at the badge next live stream. Okay, okay. So df to JSON and orient, and I'm going to pass along the value was records. I'm so good. Sometimes I impress myself with my capabilities. So let's see what it did. I guess it did exactly what we wanted it to do. Let's Okay, so this is the old one. I'm going to erase it and I'm going to paste. Look, I don't even have to actually process it to know that it's right. But probably should fix also the information here. Like it doesn't do well with characters that are not like, I don't remember the word for it, but it's part of the Latin dictionary, not the other one that it is using. So yeah, it did exactly what we wanted. So this is the thing. I guess the only part missing is fixing these things, but as of now, I'm happy with this. I can deploy this to the cloud. Oh, hey Joey. Uh, I don't know why it wasn't letting you join the chat before. So hi, thanks for joining. It could be my configurations. I really don't know. I need to check it out. But thank you for letting me know. It's Twitch policy, but I had okay. So I know for a fact that I set Twitch on my dashboard configuration that once the person follow, they can type in the chat right away. Uh, I don't know why that is happening, but I will double check before next live stream. Which, by the way, before anybody goes, let me tell you, next week I'm off. My sister is visiting, so we are going to be doing stuff, and I'm taking time off. So I'm not going to do any live streams next week. The week after that, I'm also off, but that's for a different reason. I will be traveling to Cardiff to be at PyCon UK with Peter Fernandez. I'm so happy, and we are going to be talking about Python. We are also going to have badges to show around. By the way, if you are in Cardiff, if you're going to PyCon UK, please stop by and say hi. I would love to see you there. I did change that, Corey, the settings. And then after PyCon UK, I'll be back to the normal. I guess I will be back to the normal programming. Let me double check because I don't remember anymore. Where, okay. Where can I see my calendar? You're not seeing because I'm doing this in my other screen. But don't you worry, I'm going to tell you. Calendar. So next week I'm off. The week after that, I'm also off because I'm in PyCon UK. And then we are back on the 29th of September. That's it. So I'm off 2 weeks, 1 week for my sister, and the other week for work at PyCon UK. Although it's work, I do love me some community event. So if you are at PyCon UK, please stop by to say hi to me and Peter Fernandez, my co-worker. and friend from Ata. We are sponsoring the event. It's going to be super fun. Matrices is pronounced matrices. Did I say that right? Okay. I know that matrices, matrices. I guess that's right. At least in English. Yeah, for sure. So, anyways, we figured out the way. I'm going to just make it return that way, and then we can make it pretty after that on the September 29th live stream. Where is my editor? Oh, okay, here is VS Code. So this is what we want. I'm going to return that instead of JSON dumps. And oh, see, much cleaner function. So cute. I love it. And instead of the F, I'm going to call it places because I think it's prettier. Because the F could be anything in places. At least we know it is something related to places. I could go overboard and call it places df, which is like a places data frame. I guess that's prettier, even prettier. Anyways, so orient records and example. This is exactly what we did, right? Returns a list of places as a string. Example return, and I'm going to copy this. Doesn't have any arguments, and this is going to be places df. No, it doesn't return. It doesn't really return that, but boolean. I want actually a string. Okay, that's good enough, I guess. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop my server, run my server again, and I'm going to make the request again and see if I have all the places in the response of my request. Send. It does. It has. Look at that. So it has the first two, Graz and Taipei, São Paulo, Ribeirão Preto. So y'all are going to learn how to pronounce the words of the names of cities in Portuguese now. Florianópolis, Salvador, Maceió, Belo Horizonte, which is also pretty well known. Brasília, São José. Great. This is great. It works. I'm happy. Let's protect the endpoint and ship it. And so if I do here, oh, this is my maps. I don't need it anymore. I already save it. Places. I don't need this request anymore. Okay, to do. Let's get this done. Let's add the protection. So it's very simple, very easy because I already have the code ready. So I just put this little thing here. It's going to make it protected. Not, it's going to make it work. So I can remove this comment. And to prove you that I'm not lying or anything, I'm going to make the request again. I need to run my server again. Duh. I should probably use the flag to reload it. I ran this again and again over too many times. And it's unauthorized, of course, because I don't have an authorization header. Let's try to put an authorization header to the request. Okay, how do I do this? Headers, and I'm going to remove this. I'm going to remove this. I'm going to add authorization, and I'm going to put a random value. And I'm going to send it again. And is unauthorized, invalid header. Authorization header must be better token. I know, right? Let's fix it. Auth, and let's do better token. And I'm going to enter a random token. Random. At least it has three things like JSON Web Tokens normally do. And internal server error. Something went wrong with my thing. What is wrong? Decoding token headers. Oh, see? Oh, there is one thing that I did not do. I didn't catch this exception when I was putting in the code. Probably one and shouldn't, by the way. Probably one and shouldn't what? Let's see if random token works. It doesn't. Thank you. Random token. Let's try that again. Unauthorized. Authorization header must be a value token. So see, it catches the problems. It doesn't do beautifully when the thing is wrong. It doesn't. So we need to make it a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to stop this now and I'm going to deploy it to Heroku. How do I deploy stuff to Heroku? I don't remember anymore. I guess Heroku deploy. I guess it's git push Heroku main. I didn't commit. Oh, Jesus. I need to commit stuff. My Heroku is depending on committing stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all of these things and commit. And here's a little trick. Because I did a lot of changes, I like to do one thing at a time in each of my commits. I'm going to use my favorite git add -p command from Git, which allows me to choose each chunk of a change inside of a file. That's how I do it. So for example, this is the first file, which is app.py. I could have done like each file individually and then check out, but I don't want to do this one now. I want to first start with the list of places. I want to remove that duplicated line. And then I will add the function. So this is the places, and I'm going to say yes for it. And I'm going to quit. And I'm going to show you what is the difference now. Git status. So here I have places which was modified, is added into staging. And for those who don't know, by the way, I love Git and GitHub second. Sorry, people from GitHub. I'm also a GitHub star. I have a book about Git, and I do love knowing new commands in Git. So if you have any one new command that you know, that you use a lot, and that you haven't seen me talk about, tell me. I would love to learn a new one. So now I can commit this. And I'm going to commit right from here anyways. And I'm going to say remove duplicated lines from places CSV. And that's committed. I'm going to do git add -p. My Portuguese was spelling. I'm so sorry. And I'm going directly to the utils.maps because I'm going to add that function because my endpoint doesn't work without that function. So importing the JSON thing. I'm not going to comment, not going to add this one because I was commenting just that I could read the local file. And I don't want it to be on my application online. And this is the change that adds the new function. I'm going to copy this because I want it to be in my commit. Yes, and I'm going to git commit -m adds function to maps.py. And finally, we are going again, git status, just to make sure that I didn't forget anything. So here you can see that I still have something from the maps.py. That's because I didn't stage for committing and committed all of the adjustments in there, but that's fine. And I'm going to add my new endpoint now. So git add -p in app.py because I want to focus solely on that file. I'm going to split this because I don't use JSON inside of here anymore. So no for the JSON, yes for the new function, which I just realized I didn't change the name later. Yes for the name correction for the endpoint. And finally, yes for my new endpoint. Oh, hello. Thank you for the follow. I'm happy. And while I finish committing this and deploying to Heroku, y'all go think which what is the name? Which channel we should raid after I finish all of this. And git commit -m implements implements new endpoint places. I'm not going to put places because we already had the places before. So implements new endpoint that returns a list of places. Now we committed everything that we wanted, and just so in case you're curious, so git status, I still have changes in there. I'm going to restore the app.py because I don't want that import JSON because I'm not using it anymore. So git restore app.py. Before I restore the utils the maps.py from utils, I'm going to show you the diff. So basically the diff is that commenting stuff that I don't need anymore because I'm not going to comment stuff out. What I'm thinking is I should probably change this function because my API is going to break on Heroku because I haven't configured the GitHub, what is the name? The GitHub tokens in there. Maybe I should change this function real quick too. Yeah, let's do that. Hope you're all with me. It's still. I went on a tangent, very long tangent. I'm going to add that flag that I wanted to add. What is it? Load data, local. I'm going to set as a true. This is going to be my default args, which are the arguments, local. Am I using types? No, I'm not even using types for these things. Oh, Jesus. So many things I can improve on this code, to be honest. Default is true to read a local file. So what I'm going to do is if local, can I do that? It doesn't like. So I'm negating this because I'm defaulting it to true. And what I'm going to do is in case it is a false, is going to read from GitHub. Otherwise, it's going to return this. Hopefully this won't break. Let's see. I'm going to add this to my call of load data. This since it defaults to true, I don't even need to adjust anything here. Isn't that funny? Because in this case is I was reading from GitHub, but right now it doesn't really matter. I can just read it from locally. Okay, let's run this one more time just to make sure that it doesn't break anything. Last one. I'm hungry. I don't know about you, but I'm hungry. It's about cooking lunchtime. And let's try to make that request again. It's going to break, but okay, I'm going to remove this just for a little bit. I need to rerun it. Oh, it's lunchtime. Let me go. No salads. You don't make friends with salads. And no, salad is not a lunch. You have to have your protein. You have to have some carbs. And if you tell me that Caesar salad has all of that, I'm going to go berserk. Salads are not lunch. Salads are sides. Lunch is lunch. You don't make friends with salad. You don't make friends with salad. And context is I I'm a very vocal about the things that I do not like. And one team summit a while ago, somebody thought it was a good idea to have salad for lunch and like a little very tiny small of salmon in one of the salads as like the protein of the salad, and I was not happy about it. The only green stuff I like to eat is limes, and I guess that's it. Everything else is like, I'll eat it, but I don't really like it. You know, kind of vibes. So it works. It's not breaking anything, and I guess it's reading locally. So hopefully, when I deploy this to Heroku, is everything will be fine. So let's stop the server. Let's commit the change. I'm not going to do this because I want it to be protected. And I'm going to add this to my commit. Yes, and get commit dash m again, and update load data function to read data locally. Okay, there you go. Done, 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 and done. Just because I'm being lazy, to be honest. I should actually configure all the tokens on GitHub, and I will change that later. But for now, this works and I'm satisfied. Everything's fine. What else? Oh, Heroku deploy. Git push. Okay, so if you never did a deploy to Heroku, I'm going to show you how. You log into Heroku, okay, on the CLI. You install Heroku CLI. You log into it with Heroku login. I already am logged in. I'm not going to show you to prove to you because it's going to print out my personal email, and I don't want that inside, like on this live stream, to live on forever. After you log into Heroku on the CLI, here's what you do. You're going to add the remote to your application on Heroku. And Heroku has all of this list of steps with all the commands that you need to run, right? I'm just recapping for the people that do not know. So give remote dash v is going to show you the remotes that I have. And I have here my Heroku remote. See? And then I can do git push. I can pass along the remote Heroku, and then I can choose which branch I'm going to deploy. So main. And if everything I didn't break anything, which I'm really hoping, this is going to push all of the changes that I did, is going to build the application on Heroku, is going to install all of the requirements that are needed, and is going to launch the new version of my application. That means if I get an access token, I can make a request to the protected endpoint. Should we try it? I guess we should, right? We have time, don't we? I guess we do. What time is it? Yeah, 7 minutes until 11:30, which is official lunchtime for me. I don't know about you, but I like to eat lunch early, or at least start cooking it around 11:30. Okay, so we deployed. This thing is working. Let's try to make a request from the badge. I could make the request from VS Code, but since the badge is already working, why not do the badge, right? Okay. Tony, where is Tony? Not the Tony that I work with. This Tony. Okay, so going back to the badge, this is Tony. For the people that are new here, this is Tony, the other IDE that I use for coding stuff. Tony allows us to communicate with the badge. If you don't know what a badge is, that's the thing that is showing up here. So here I have the badge. It's already running the script that gets my access token from Auth0 because my application is protected by Auth0, and I need that access token to access. I need like sound effects, like, dum dum. gets that access token and prints out what type of token it is, and then I can make requests to protected endpoints. If you check my shell here, you're going to see that I'm requesting the token from this endpoint on auth 0, which is my tenant name, the the location of that tenant, United States in this case, OAuth slash token. That's the endpoint inside of my tenant that gives out access tokens if my credentials are correct. Um, and then my function is telling me that you're obtaining the data, which is basically the access token. And then we can make requests to the URL for my application, which is the application that is running on Heroku. And as you can tell here, I'm running the main endpoint, which shows the map. So that's why you have like this HTML, crazy HTML here. What I'm going to change is, instead of having this big as HTML, I'm going to change that to the endpoint that prints out the JSON object. I guess that's good, right? Good explanation. And how we do that? We just change the string of the URL that we are using. Okay, we already figured that out last week. I can remove this comment. And oh my god, I have a music in my head. And I am not the greatest singer, so I'm not going to sing the music. But it's such a good music though. Okay, so this is working. This is the one that gets the access token. This was like comments. I can remove this later. And this is makes the protected API request. So it uses the access token to make the request. So this is the endpoint, like this is the domain for my application inside Heroku, and we're going to use the places endpoint. Hopefully, if I did everything right, this should work and print out the dictionary slash JSON here. So let's run it. And it's going to reboot. It's going to request the access token. It's going to obtain the access token, and then it's going to make and it works. Woo! I'm so excited. Yoo-hoo! And just to prove to you, so here's the endpoint that we were just doing it and we implemented together. Thank you so much for being here and helping me out. So each one of these little objects have a collection of information. So we have the name of the city, we have the latitude and the longitude, and the name of the other city, latitude, longitude, and so on and so forth until it finishes. And we did it. Good job, everybody. Thank you for being here. I guess we can call it a day. This is saved. This is already part of my badge. And in 2 weeks, we see each other again so that we can make this show on the badge as actual useful information, like a list of cities or how many cities and those kind of things. Thank you so much for being here. I guess that's it for today. If anybody has any other questions, concerns, above the badge, there's all of my social network, like my website, my blog, Git Fishes, or Git Study Cards, which is where I do. Oh, I can show it to you, right? I better show, don't tell. It's better to show and not to tell. So my blog first. I post a lot of things. Oh, Jesus. I post a lot of things on Git, technology, Python, and other tips that I find along the way. And if you come in here, books, you can see my book. And you can buy it on Amazon. Here I have affiliate links to the United States and Canada, but you can buy on any Amazon stores available on all of the stores all over the world, or on Gumroad if you prefer Gumroad. That is also the option. And it covers a bunch of Git Commons. And it's based out of the work that I did on here, gitfishes.com. So this is my Git study cards collection. I cannot, for the life of me, copy and paste a thing on my own Twitch chat. So Git Fishes is actually a collection of study cards. The idea would be that you come in here, it's like, oh, interesting, Git move and source target. So I can rename a file in Git the right way by using git move as a command. And if you want to see it like in bigger, you can always like, zoom in, open this image. I'm working on having like a printable version of all of this sometime soon, I'm hoping, or maybe beginning of next year. But as of now, you can always check it out if you need help with any git comments. There are a lot of them. Most of them started as my favorite comments. So for example, the git add dash p one is in here in case you liked it and you want to use it and you want a reminder on how it works. I did it a long time ago. Jesus, I have to scroll all the way down. I could actually find it in another way, but since we are already here, I'm committed to scrolling all the way down. What is it? Did I not do it? Oh, I could not done it. I could have not done it. Do I need to do it still? It could be. I don't know anymore. I don't think I did. I need to do a git study card. Oh, no, it's here. Thank. Oof. See, a long time ago. It's the study card number 8, and I have maybe 52 now, I guess. So this was the command that I was using to actually choose each chunk of commit, each chunk of change that I wanted to commit. So yeah, that's it for today. See you all in 2 weeks, where we go back to the badge and try to display cute information about the API of ours. I'm going to leave you with the book and that direct link in chat, just in case you want to check it out. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.